Next up, we have La Signora battle theme, all phases from the Genshin Impact original soundtrack, composed by Yu Peng Chen. Once again, everybody, this is a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I am a professionally trained musician, and my objective here is to explain things, explain what is happening musically so that you don't have to be a professionally trained musician to understand what is going on. This is recorded live on stream, so there's going to be a lot of pausing as I pick up things. I'm going to be explaining as I go. So if you like that, make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Make sure you've joined the Discord, like the video, share the video, all that really good stuff. So let's get started. La Signora battle theme. Let's go. Okay, so we start with double basses. It sounds like this is going to be a full orchestral arrangement because usually Genshin Impact stuff is. And we have a percussion. It sounded like a bass drum in the background doing, kind of imitating a heartbeat kind of thing. W. Dill, welcome today. How you doing? And it's kind of imitating a heartbeat. There's a synth that is starting to play this high-pitched note up there, and we're having this very downbeat, like almost like marching from the double basses. I love how much love double basses are getting, because double bass is such a cool instrument. Let's see. Yep, you can hear like it's accelerating, it's doing like this, almost like marching. Let's see. And we bring in, just like that, we bring in the piano, almost camouflaging the piano with the double basses. I think the double basses have taken more of a back spot now. And now we have these chimes at the top playing this motif. The motif, of course, being the smallest version of your musical idea. This is how you spell it. Oh, I forgot to delete from the previous one. The motif, of course, being the smallest version of your musical idea, the seed from which everything else comes out of. Like the most famous motif of all time is Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Bum, 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 bum. That's it. That's the motif. Motifs can be a bit longer than that, can be shorter than that. And right now we are hearing this like almost falling down motif from these chimes, while the piano and the double basses are bringing us. So yes, we're having the piano complement the double basses, and what we're doing is that we are doing an orchestration. We're doing an orchestration here. We're having the piano take part of what the double bass was doing. So now it sounds kind of like a call and response. Call and response being one instrument, one line does one thing, another one follows up with a response. So we set up that musical idea with the double bass first, and now we took that first half, gave it to the piano. So now it sounds like it's bouncing back and forth. Really, really cool. It went from marching to bouncing, and we're having this really cool chiming from the top. Woodwinds. Okay, so we're having a really cool, this is so cool. We are having a very, very cool set of lines being played. So we had the basses doing their thing down below, that is the double basses plus the piano. Then we had the chimes going up over here, and now we are starting to tie the gap together with the woodwinds. Woodwinds being I think in this case it's flutes. It sounds like flutes, maybe not really a clarinet. Let's hear it. Clarinet and flutes. Which, in the world of orchestration, there's a lot of things that you will do called doublings. Doublings. In which you take the same melody and you make multiple instruments play it. Because of how different instruments sound, you will get different textures, not just from the instruments alone, but also when you play them together. So the sound of a flute alone is going to be very different from the sound of a clarinet alone, and it's going to be very different than the sound of a clarinet and a flute together. And that's what we're seeing right now, and we're seeing this as a way of kind of tying together the chimes and the piano and the bass. Really, really cool. We're having a very interesting counterpoint going on all of this. Counterpoint, of course, being when you have multiple melodies, multiple instances of music going on that are independent, that work really well together. And right now what we're having is almost like a layered cake being set up layer by layer, but the layers are not in the right order, right? Like we went from the lowest one to the highest one. Now we're putting one of the middle ones, and because it's music, it still works very beautiful this way. This could still be our intro. Like, structurally speaking, we're not even into the first section yet. This is just building up to the start. Let's continue. Oh, it's such a beautiful... Yep, flutes and clarinets. Oh, those triplets there. So yeah, you heard how the flutes were doing like this very steady rhythm, and then when it sounded like it accelerated, that is called a triplet. That is called a triplet. A triplet is when you take, triplets. When you take what usually would take a certain amount of time, like we had 2 notes in a beat, and you decide to put a third one in there. That is a triplet. You can have sextuplets, you can have quintuplets, you can have... So the tuplets is the overall term, the all-encompassing term. What we just had was triplets. And these are basically, you play X number of notes where you usually would play Y number of notes. So, for example, triplets, 3 notes where you would usually see either 2 or 1 note. You can have quintuplets, which is you play 5 notes where you would usually play, say, 4 notes or 2 notes or 1 note. It goes against the standard notation that we usually have. And in this case, it was the triplets going there, giving it this sense of cheekiness, of elegant cheekiness, because, the clarinet is a very elegant instrument. The flute is a very, very elegant instrument. So we're having this almost march/dance happening. Of course, this is the Signora, a very, very elegant character. She's very, very, very feminine in that way. So we're having this sense like it's menacing, marching, but also playful in a way, very much reflecting the character of La Signora. She toys around a lot. She's very pretentious. She's very arrogant. But she's also extremely firm, and she's very, very dangerous. So... And now we have strings, the other strings. We're bringing the strings. So we took out the woodwinds and we brought in the other strings. We had I think those are the second violins, maybe the violas, doing a similar rhythm to what the piano and the double bass were doing. That's why we love her. Yep. Yeah, she was a great character. I really liked her character. It was a fun villain to have. So yeah, you can hear the violins here giving you this rhythm. The chimes are speeding up. And now the first violin, vocals, and now we are having what I love to call the flying melody. This is not an official term. This is not an academic term. You're not going to find this in the textbook, but this is how I perceive it. You are having the rhythm being played by the double bass, by the piano, by right now the violas, the second violins, and then you're having a doubling of the first violin with these vocalists, with the singers. There's it's a simpler melody. It's being played high above. You have a very busy underside over here. The landscape is very busy, very full of everything. And up above, you're having the melody playing out above, soaring from everything else. Simple, elegant. I love it. And the chimes have sped up a lot, but they're still playing variations on that motif. And I think I hear a harp, too. Interesting. So yeah, we're having a lot of instruments dropping in and out next to those chimes, because I heard a harp, then I heard a little bit of violin. We have these instruments going back and forth, changing the instrumentation, giving it so many different vibes, let's call it, so many different textures to those chimes going on. Like we have the bottom side, the lower side, the basses still carrying that very consistent ostinato. We're using an ostinato right now. The ostinato is when you have an instrument or a group of instruments repeating the same thing over and over and over. They're looping around, and they're keeping everything like that. It's a very fun thing to have. It's risky to overdo it. It's very easy to overdo an ostinato unless you bring everything else in a variation with you building everything else around. Any instrument can do an ostinato, and again, it's a tricky thing, but it's really, really fun to have. Let's continue. Yep, those vocals. Yeah, so we're having, those chimes at the end. I am right. Those chimes are going back and forth between being chimes and being a harp. And the thing about a harp is that given all mythology and popular media and everything, people associate harps with something more angelic, something more divine than that. Kind of how you will associate an organ with the institution of the church, something bigger than you, and all that. The harp is done for the individual of the angelic nature. And it's switching back and forth between the harp and the chimes, and not the chimes, but the harp, but not the harp, but the chimes. Very reflective of the Signora, because the Signora has this almost two-faced attitude towards so many things. She's very treacherous. She's a very treacherous woman, but she's still keeping somewhat consistent to herself by being inconsistent to others in this very dominant way. She's very unpredictable, but she still has that air to her. I like how well the music is reflecting the character over here. That's very fun to see when a composer nails a character like that. There you go. And we brought in a snare, by the way. So yes, on top of the double bass and everything. Let me hear a bit more. So yes, with the piano and the double basses, again, I'm not apologizing for pausing. I said we pause a lot here. On top of the piano and the double bass, we have introduced a snare. And the snare, just like the harp, is to angels, and the organ is to like the concept of a church, of a temple, or something grandiose like that. The snare is often associated with marching, with military, with being a soldier, with war, with that sense of violence, the nasty marching of the soldier, the endurance that you must have with that. So adding that little layer gives this sense of, okay, we're no longer just kind of dancing, we're kind of just marching. And right now the triplets have kind of disappeared for a bit. It's like we are getting a little bit more serious now. Things are getting a bit more serious here. And man, the chorus, really cool. And now, interesting. The piano is also... So we have the piano still doing that accompaniment with the double bass. But the good thing about the piano is that you have two hands. You can have the piano do more than one thing. So what the piano is doing is it's also accompanying and doubling the chorus. This women's chorus that is having this really cool lyrical flying melody, and the piano is playing on what is called the downbeat. The piano is just playing along in the downbeats, hitting when the vocals hit as well. So maybe not the downbeat, but it's doubling the vocalists in a very, very cool way. It gives it such a cool vibe. The piano is such a versatile instrument, dude. Oh, immense. And there goes the harp. The harp doing almost a glissando, but it's... So the harp now is doing arpeggios. Arpeggios... So we removed a good chunk of stuff, and now we have brought the harp, doing arpeggios. Arpeggios is when you play a chord one note at a time. So we have that, and we have this. I think we might have either two harps, or we're just panning the harp left and right. We don't really have too much else. We have completely shifted in our section. I think this whole thing, these first 2 or so minutes, have been, structurally speaking, our section A. We had an intro, and we did section A, which with that ostinato, the whole march and everything, and now we're moving on to section B. In the world of music, that is just another section. We are doing something contrasting, but kind of the same. And what is keeping kind of the same is that the harp is kind of doing what the chimes were doing before. And the harp was slowly taking over the chimes, and now it's just the harp. And now we have the strings are coming in, the male vocalists are coming in, and you know, when you have a new section, you want contrast, you don't want to fully make anything completely fully new, completely unfamiliar, for the piece to flow naturally. So what's an easy way to do it? A simple way to do it is you start with the women, now you have the men. Contrasting enough. They could be doing the same melody, which it sounds like they're doing a very similar melody. We were doing a marchy sound with the double basses and the piano. Okay, take that away and just let the violins now do legato. Legato, of course, just letting the notes play in full all the way through. Just letting the violins do their thing. And now we have this very beautiful counterpoint going on. The melody against melody. And we are introducing the full chorus now. We started with just the men, and now the full chorus. Oh, that's beautiful. And there's the brass. In the back, we have the brass. We have brought it back. We have brought it back to section A. I don't know if this was meant as a bridge or something. We had this little break. We're back to section A with more stuff. This would be called an A prime, where we're just adding more variation, and we are bringing so many things. We brought everything back that we had on the first time around, but now we have the men, we have the brass, we have the violins doubling. We have the men doing call and response to everything else. And we have brass. Sounds like trombones in the background. Brass, of course, being one of the riskiest instruments you can use. They are extremely loud. It's so easy. Like right now, things are pretty loud with the rest of the orchestra. One trombone with a good note, like not going full force, but going, decently enough, like 70% force, could easily overpower the entire orchestra. So whenever you're using brass, it's usually you want to be very careful, and you're going to be doing these like little bits, which the brass is doing right now, keeping the accompaniment with the rest, keeping that almost beating heart kind of rhythm that we've been having. Really cool. Let's continue. Harp still going on. Oh, and then again, I love when this happens. A way to make things feel like they've taken off, lifted off, and everything is to take out what I hit the microphone. To take out what was playing in the lower end. We took away the double bass, we took away the piano, we took away the brass, all that, and now we're just letting the rest of it fly. It's like a flying melody, but there's no landscape. They have completely gone off the cliff. Let's see where this leads. Chimes are back. There we go. We brought it back. Didn't take too long for it to come back. And now it sounds like we're going in. And transformation phase, it seems here. So it sounds like two separate pieces, but still the same. And now we bring in the brass. Yeah, it sounds like it's several movements. So over here, this is a new concept for us now. What we are hearing right now is in what a symphony would be called movements. Usually, when it comes to symphonic stuff, you will have 3 movements. You will have the first movement, introduces the idea. Second movement is usually slower. Third movement is faster. That is just the classical structure for it. So nowadays, it can be pretty much everything. Ever since Beethoven kind of flipped that whole thing on its head, and he's been doing, he did whatever he wanted. But now we have this starting a lot more intense from the get-go. Short bursts, building up. Oh, those violins playing the almost aleatoric. We bring a variation of that initial theme. Now there's an organ. We replaced the harp with an organ. So we went from this small scale, almost angel-like, almost angelic thing, going from ice to fire. Now she's bigger, she's more grandiose, she's revealed the full form and everything. Short movement for the transition. Now second phase. Ooh. There you go. So now this would be considered a third movement. So that second phase, the transformation phase, would be a short second movement, almost like an intermission. And now, third movement, it's still the same piece of music, technically speaking. So this is a miniature symphony. What we're hearing here is a miniature symphony. It's a 7-minute symphony. Mainly because of how short the transformation phase was. But right now we are having electric guitar coming in. What else is... The snare starts right away. The double bass, it's faster. Again, as I said, first movement, it's the whole thing. Second movement is a lot slower. In this case, it was fairly slow. There wasn't that much going on. It just ended very fast. And now, third movement, faster. It's a lot faster. And most importantly, we added the electric guitar. But the overall rhythm that we had is still the same rhythm that we heard back at the very beginning. It's just a variation of it. It's the third movement. Oh, that's really cool. Now we have the electric guitar doubling with the double bass. Faster. Pretty much the same thing as we were hearing before, but faster. And because we have the guitar with this, no organ though. Let's see where this goes. Drums. Oh, there you go. So, Genshin music a lot of the times gets these EDM, dubstep-esque electric drums. Sorry, I'm almost sneezing here. And you get these breaks on this, and now we're having short bursts of the original theme along with this more modernized thing, which really cool considering, the designs in Genshin Impact. The bosses tend to have these more like weird technological elements to them that are still fantasy but not really. Crying how good the music is, I can't cry. Not because I don't have the capacity to. I have the physical ability to. But anyway, now we have the whole reveal of it. She's no longer this gorgeous lady in a dress who is kind of like the mafia. Elegant, playful, kind of double-faced, kind of treacherous. Now she's all in full force. She's in full force, and she's not holding back anything. So neither are they. And of course, a really cool aspect of it is that we're using the men's chorus to do those stingers, those staccatos. So we're still doing the same motifs as we were before. They're just shorter. It's a variation. So instead of playing out the motif in the way that the melody was playing with the motifs going around like this, now we're just playing the essential points of the motif. It's gonna sound very similar, and we're just hitting where it matters, hitting where it goes. Really, really good, really good. It's a good way of creating variation with your motifs to have that. to make them shorter in that sense. So, you know, there's elongation. You take the melody, you stretch it so that now it's longer. You know, everything is proportionally longer. There's reduction where you do that. And then there's the legato versus staccato. We had a legato melody in the first movement. Now we have a staccato melody in the third movement. So, and the violins are going absolutely insane. The violins are going insane where the harp used to go in, what used to be insane. And in terms of scaling, that is really cool because the harp is a single instrument. It's one instrument. It sounds really angelic. And now we have the violins really going at it. And the thing with violins is that in an orchestral setting, a violin section is usually going to have double-digit numbers of players. Considering the size of how it sounds like it could be anywhere between 10 and maybe 16 violins. I'm going to say maybe 12 violins because that's fairly standard for larger orchestras. But now, instead of having one harp player playing this absolute bonkers piece, now we have 12 violins playing roughly that same idea, but now it's 12 of them. So the sense of scale just is, it just goes big and it just gives it this sense of scale. Look about this, Ratchet. I'll respond to that in a moment. And there's organ. The organ is back here. It's just that the organ is very far in the back. It's very far in the back, which is fairly unusual for an organ. Usually an organ is very loud. It's almost as loud as the brass. But now we have mainly the piano is what is getting in the way of that organ. So there's still something being held back. Interesting. And now we went from staccato to legato. But now everything is so much faster. We're going to that. And we're doing call and response with the motif now, where we're taking some of the lines being sung by some of the chorus and by the chorus, and then being sung by the rest, and they're going back and forth. It's a lot more hectic. It's a lot more sped up and everything. They put the organ to so it's not so loud. There you go. Yeah. And there's our first triplet in a very long time. Guitar solo. And the guitar solo is entirely playing triplets. We discussed earlier how the triplets were giving us this sense of speeding things up while keeping everything else the same. The guitar is playing exclusively triplets right now. So she's done messing around. She's done with the occasional dance-like or occasional playfulness. Now we're on. Oh. Ooh, solo vocal. With the... Okay. Oh my god, this is so good. So, now we went from having the entire orchestra playing this whole thing. And again, as I keep saying, if you want to build a strong climax like that, just take away everyone, reduce the size of this, and everything. So, now we went from having the strings, the violins being the ones that were basically replacing the harp, to now being the piano. And we went back to a single solo vocalist. And she's now singing the motif. She's singing the melody by herself with just the piano. So we went from this massive, grandiose, hectic EDM, guitar, orchestra, to now just piano and vocals. We go back to being reminded that after all, La Signora is an individual. A very powerful one. And now we're building back up. The drums are in. Let's see where we go for this. Oh, a beautiful piano. Oh, and the piano giving this here. It's... I had seen this before with Hakita, with Heaven Piercer, but I've mentioned the concept of the flying melody. You have a very busy bass, middle ground, and you have a high melody. And right now what has happened is the piano is covering such a large range that now it doesn't feel like we're flying above, it feels like we're flying through. Which is very useful for you're in the middle of something, you're in the middle of combat, you're in the middle of the stage or whatever, for this kind of stuff. Really cool. Let's see where this goes, because I heard the guitar. Their guitar is there as well. Oh, and now we're having the vocalist holding those notes, and the men's end of the choir is now singing very delicate, very soft, almost like murmuring. Again, as I said, being quiet has such a strong, powerful effect in music. It can have such a powerful effect in this kind of stuff, because we went from this insanely massive to this small, and it feels almost delicate, which at the end of the day, La Signora is still this beautiful woman, so it still has that aspect to it, even though she's this incredible threat that, you know, we still have the guitar there, we have the drums kind of there, still in the back of the head, reminding us that, yeah, she's a menace. Yup. Oh, we introduced a second vocalist. And now the chorus. Oh, the choir. Oh, I love when this happens. The doublings, the doublings, the doublings, the doublings. We have the violins playing with the flutes, and the flutes are going very high and loud. That is one of the most dramatic things you can do in orchestral music. Having the violins play insanely high, almost as high as they go, and have the flutes play along with them. It gives you this sense of like almost despair. Like they are pushing the boundaries. They are at the limit. They are at their limit. It's as far as they can go, but they have to keep pushing, and they have to keep pushing. It's so good. And the brass coming in with those stingers. Oh, and the drum and bass, drum and guitar mainly, and the brass having those accents. Oh, and the triplets going in the guitar, and I think with some of the strings, maybe the harp. And we're bringing it out. Now the organ is a lot more closer to us. Back to that rhythm. Back to that rhythm. And are we going to end it, or are we going to fade it out? We ended it. And there you go. We ended it. We started with that rhythm. We ended it with that rhythm. We let it bleed out. A bleed out in music is when you just let the last chord fade away. You know, the strings will eventually, the energy will dissipate naturally. So you just let it ring out and just let it go as is. What a composition. So this was technically 3 tracks in one, but it was more like a symphony. It was like a miniature symphony. We had so many of the elements reused throughout the entire thing, and it felt so dramatic. It was so dramatic. It was very much encompassing the essence of La Signora. Again, the Genshin Impact music, say what you will about the game. Say what you will about the game, I don't care. The music is masterfully crafted. It's insane how good the music from Genshin Impact is. And there you have it. A fairly smaller way of ending, you know, just letting that last chord from the guitar end it, and just letting it die off that way. Kind of how you let La Signora die off, right? So there you go. There you have it. That was La Signora battle theme, all phases from the Genshin Impact OST. What a piece of music, composed by Yu Peng Chen, published by MiHoYo. Such a cool piece of music. That was really, really cool. Once again, everybody, this has been a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I am a professionally trained musician, and I hope the way I explained things to you make you so that you don't have to be a professionally trained musician to understand what has happened over here throughout this piece. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know, outside of the live, thank you for watching. If you liked it, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure that you like the video, you share the video. If you want to request a song for us to do, just drop a comment. Let us know what track from what game. Video game soundtracks only. original soundtracks only. And yeah, make sure you join the Discord as well. Discord is where everything gets announced first. And yeah, there you go. We're gonna take it from there. Thank you for watching, and there you have it. La Signora battle theme from Genshin Impact OST. So good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, let's move on.